Welcome, Reds. Thank you very much for tuning in for our daily Liverpool news show. We've got a big show planned today. We're going to be about 15, 20 minutes, joined by a very special guest. All their links to their channels are in the description, but I really do appreciate all the lads for jumping on today. And if you want to get involved with your fellow Reds around the world, make sure you head over, subscribe to all the lads' channels. Absolutely cracking content, and all of us, we've got a lot of shows planned this year, and hopefully it's a very successful season for the Reds. But we'll be talking about I've going to ask the lads and use at home Reds anyway, four main questions really. What are you most excited about Liverpool this season? What is the expectations for this new season? What is the area of Liverpool's game that you think Liverpool can improve upon on last season within our game? And who do you think will be Liverpool's top three players for this season? So we'll be asking the lads and every single one of you, if you want to get involved, really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a lovely day. But yeah, we'll quickly introduce, we've got Doug on today's channel on today's video. Doug from the Dugout Football channel, Ricky from the 1892 Reds podcast, and Connor from the Kop Council. Anyway, but thank you very much, lads. But we'll get straight into it. I don't really want to be talking about transfers, but we were just speaking before we spoke about, was a 30 right in and around Liverpool have recouped in the last couple of days. The news broke from Paul Joyce this morning, £12 million move for Harry Wilson to Fulham, which is fantastic. Wishing Harry all the best. I think he'll do very well at Fulham, probably be one of the main big players there. 12 million, it's amazing. 33 million for like the likes of fringe players that Liverpool recouped. We will be rewarding players with new deals this summer, but in terms of pushing forward for any potential transfers, I think Liverpool are in a very good position, and it's very good business strategy from Liverpool, FSG, and recouping great money for the fringe players. Hopefully we can improve in one or two areas. But really, we'll get straight into it. Start with you, Ricky. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. Obviously, that's the first question. What are you most excited about Liverpool this season?
Seeing Virgil van Dijk back at centre half, and just seeing the best 11 play together that we ain't seen pretty much for about half a season, 3/4 of a season. It's going to be very interesting how we start the season. We ain't got the hardest of starts, but yeah, looking very forward to seeing Van Dijk back in that lineup and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, that's really spot on there, mate. Doug, what are your most excited about for Liverpool this season, mate?
I think it's just a case of, looking forward to obviously the new season starting. Obviously we'll have our big hitters back: Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip, and Kanate, who have been looking sensational in pre-season right now. And I'm kind of looking forward to trying to take back the title from Man City. I think that's a big if, of course. But what I will say is, I think what I'm looking forward to is seeing a full Anfield again. I think we missed the fans last season, and I think that's why we lost 6 home games in a row. So I'm hoping that having fans back, we can maybe not stay unbeaten at Anfield, but it'd be lovely to get some wins and try and make Anfield a bit of a fortress again.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, mate. It was a big aspect of Liverpool's game. Spot on there, Doug, and Ricky mentioned as well. I think it will play a big factor. Fingers crossed, obviously. Liverpool can improve next season, really. So, Connor, ask you that question anyway. What are you most excited about? Doug's mentioned, obviously, the crowds. Ricky mentioned, obviously, the big players. Virgil van Dijk coming back as well. So, pose that question to you, mate.
Doug took my answer a little bit. It was fans. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. So thank you, Doug. But no, look, I'm just excited for the season. Normality, I think, is the thing that I'm really looking for, and having the likes of Virgil back, like Ricky said, and just being excited for the season. I think we were the same last year, a little bit. Us being Premier League champions, but we knew that fans weren't there. But we now know that fans are going to be there. We know it's going to be full capacity for the for the first games, and I just can't wait. I genuinely hope there's a title challenge, and that's what I'm expecting from Liverpool this season. It's just a bare minimum, a title challenge, and then, if we do go on to do it, then fair enough. I'll happily accept that, obviously. But as long as the Reds, give it 100%, and I think as long as the crowd gives 100% as well, because we haven't been in Anfield properly for 12, 16 months, and it'll be good to give those boys a little bit more of an energy and become the 12th man that we all know Anfield can be.
Yeah, spot on there, mate. I think you've already answered the second question for your expectations. As Connor's alluded to there, Reds, Liverpool need to challenge next season, don't they, Ricky? As Connor mentioned, and Doug, the crowd will play a big beneficial factor, really, in terms of Liverpool driving on off the back of last season. It was very disappointing. But I think the expectations over recent times have changed since the introduction of Jürgen in his very first press conference. He's made us from doubters to believers, and the lads have done us proud. But Ricky, what are you expecting from Liverpool this season? What do you want to see from the Reds?
I'm expecting a massive response from last season because it was poor. Although we did finish third, it was a very poor season, regardless of injuries. I'm going to be honest, though, I think this season will be a lot tougher for a title challenge than it was last season. I think last season was a very good chance for us to get the second title back to back. I think this season, you're seeing teams strengthen in the summer. Man United have got Sancho in. Man City are looking at signing Grealish and Kane. It depending who we bring in, because at the minute I won't say I'm worried, but it's getting to that stage where you think Klopp would want his players in for pre-season, new players, get them embedded into that way of playing.
Do you reckon there's another level for Liverpool to reach? I know, Ricky, in terms of, as you alluded to there, I mean, last season wasn't good enough, but that was due to injuries. But even still, when you take into account Liverpool's injuries, the performance level, I think, from our forward lads. But do you reckon Liverpool can reach that level in which we did see when we won the league, and obviously the previous years? Do you think Jürgen Klopp's the best of any Reds and bringing the best out of players? But most definitely, I think, what you reckon? Do you reckon Liverpool can probably beat that level or even get higher?
Oh, massively. Without a doubt, we have the best 11 in the Premier League, on level par with City, possibly. It's what comes after that with Liverpool. If you get a few, like we see last season, 1-2 injuries, we struggled in certain games. Man United could sign Varane, Sancho, and another striker. They still won't have a better 11 than us. There's possibly only one Man United player that would get in the Liverpool team for me. So we need to get the right players in to replace the stuff on the bench that we've got that ain't good enough. We need a level above Origi. We need a level above Shaq. We get that. You're going to have a massive title challenge from us because you can rely on Klopp. You see Klopp, people moan at Klopp for not making changes early enough. You turn around on that bench, who would you have put on last season?
Yeah, there was no centre-backs on the bench.
So as long as we get the recruitment right this summer, I'm not saying go spend 80, 90, 100 million on a player, but get the level above Origi, Shaqiri, them sort of players, and replace Wijnaldum, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, mate. Doug, what are your expectations for a new season? As Ricky's alluded to, getting the better quality comes from transfers, but as we've seen in recent times, Andy Robinson coming in for 8 million. It's all about Jürgen, and him and Edwards and the technical staff. Regardless, we all would love a big transfer, but at the end of the day, Jürgen in recent time is more or less 90% of his transfers, and he's all about developing players, isn't he? But what are your expectations for this season?
Obviously, to challenge, I think, obviously we had a bit of a, what would be like it was a roller coaster of a ride. There were ups, there were downs, there was turns, there was twists, there was turns. So I would like a smoother season. I know it's not going to probably be that, but I just want us to challenge. I just want us to challenge Manchester City for the title again. Obviously finishing third, 5 points behind Manchester United. When you consider that Manchester United actually had a much better season, and they only finished 5 points, is a testament how we actually ended the season as well. I think one expectation I would like to see is not to rely on Mo Salah very, very heavily. I think last season Mo Salah carried us with his goals, especially through the majority of the season. Like Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino, they have to step up this season. We have to have goals from midfield, and I think having Matip and Konate at the back there, I think is something else we might actually see. I think we definitely need to improve on set pieces as well. So expectations, challenge for the title, get more goals from obviously the attack. Obviously, you've got Jota there as well to come in as well. Get more goals from midfield. Improve at set pieces. Champions League, I would like to get to at least the quarterfinals. Anything past that, I think, is progress for us. And the cups, I'd like to see us give a wee go in the cups. Actually, I know Klopp doesn't like the cups, but if you actually think about it, if we get players to sign for the bench, then I think we've got a good, capable squad of competing on all four fronts.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, Ricky and Doug. Connor, I know you mentioned obviously challenging as any. Well, I tie it into the next question, mate. What are the areas of Liverpool's game that you want to see us improve? Doug's already alluded to set pieces. I think when we won the league, we were probably up there. I think we were probably 1 or 2 in terms of the leaderboard in which developing our game. What area for next season do you want to see Liverpool improve?
I think Doug's hit the nail on the head there about Mo Salah, not relying on him so much. And again, it falls down to that question again, with Mane, with Firmino, it's then the bench question again. That's where I think Liverpool need to improve, and that of course comes down to transfers, is adding to the bench, because like Ricky said earlier, we have the best starting 11 in the Premier League. I'm very certain of that. It's then the quality on the bench. For me, Divock Origi's not that anymore. Shaqiri's not that anymore. And we need to add in that area, because Jota is in that bracket where he can add quality, and we've seen that last season when he was fit and able to come off the bench and help us at key times. And that's where I think Liverpool need to bolster the squad again. We need to look in the market and look at the correct opportunity to go and have that next Jota and go and help the front three, because we've relied on the front three now for the last 4 years, and apart from Mo, it has come down to practically just him scoring the goals. So yeah, for me, I think the key area where we need to massively improve is the bench. For me anyway.
Spot on there. Ricky, any area of Liverpool's aspect of their game that you Connor's alluded to, the players and the burden in which Salah carries every single season, but that's the type of quality, world-class talent in which he is. But Ricky, as the lads have mentioned, any areas for you in particular that you'd like to see Liverpool improve in their game?
I think we need an all-out number 9 to get goals. I think we've now been found out with this Bobby false 9. He's the man to link up Mane and Salah. We've been found out the way we play football. So if you're going to continue to spam the box with crosses from Trent and Robbo, you need a proper number 9 in the penalty area who knows where the goal is, who knows how to finish. Like the lad from Fiorentina, he's probably a couple of levels above Andy Carroll type football player. He's tall, he's good with his feet, he's got a bit of turn of pace. If we're going to continue to let Trent cross the ball, we need someone in there like that, who's in the box, who can pull it in. And I think we need to find, like I see yesterday, we were struggling to break the low block down again. I mean, shock. I see the Liverpool Twitter pull it on saying about a low block. We've seen that for the last 2 seasons. We need a midfield player now where Thiago's the link, but you need someone else there who can drive at the defence, who can play a splitting part, like a Coutinho type player. We need one of them in the midfield.
It was important that I think Klopp said after the game, mate, and that's why we played Mainz. He wanted to see how it was. He said they're very, very, very low block himself in the interview. It's important that Liverpool, you spot on there, mate, and Reds as well, and that Liverpool have a different variety of attackers. Obviously, we've seen, as you mentioned, the lads have mentioned, we've seen Jota come in, make the impact. Origi, he's probably a different type of player, obviously, to Bobby. But there will be games next season, won't there, Ricky? And as the lads, Connor and Doug have already mentioned, that there will be different types of games. Obviously, you mentioned the low block, but there'll be different aspects. Obviously, Bobby will thrive in different games, but that comes down to what we've already discussed and what every Liverpool fan wants. You need a different caliber striker, do you reckon, Ricky, in terms of different games, week in, week out?
Yeah, you need different options of a striker. You need like the Bobby type, the skillful type, who will come deep, but then you need someone that will stay up top, who's willing to win the ball, hold the ball up. This talk of Ox becoming the new false nine, I mean, what is he, 27, 28? You can't learn a new position at that age. You can't train someone to do. At a club like Liverpool, you need to be a top player. You ain't going to have time to learn new positions because you're just going to get fanned out. And if we go into the season with not signing a striker or a winger and think we could get away with playing Ox as a false nine, you might as well give up. Ox is a centre midfielder. If he can stay fit, he's been looking sharp, but he's not a false nine.
Yeah, it will be interesting, but that's the beauty of Jurgen Klopp, innit, Ricky, Doug and Con, and everyone at home. He's got that ability of making plays and turning players into certain positions. But it's one man in Europe, innit, Ricky, that can change and develop players. It's Jurgen Klopp, because he'll probably watch. He's seen enough in Ox. He sees Ox a lot more than we do in terms of a match day, anyway. But he's spot on there, lads. Anyway, just a final question as well, Reds. Obviously, everyone at home, I'll pose you this question, but I'll ask Doug in a little second. Who do you think will be Liverpool's top 3 players this season? Doug, ask you, mate. Obviously, if you could pick 3 players that we've alluded to the areas and the aspect of Liverpool's game that we need to improve, but if you had to pick and going forward for this season, mate, Liverpool, who do you reckon will be Liverpool's top 3 players going to this at the end of hopefully next season?
I'm going to go Salah. Obviously, I think that's a big given for sure. I'm going to go Robbo. I don't think Robbo had the best of seasons last season. People are now saying that Luke Shaw's the best left back in the country. For me, it's still Andy Robertson. I know Luke Shaw's had a fantastic season for Manchester United, but unfortunately, it's still Andy Robertson for me. I don't know. I'm kind of to and fro from Fabinho and Thiago, because I think, like, we have to admit, last season I think the top 3 for me were probably Salah, Fabinho, and Nat Phillips. I think that's a given for me. So yeah, I'll go Salah. I'll go Robbo. I'm gonna go Thiago. I think this is a big season for Thiago, and I think we'll hopefully see the best of him.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, like Connor. You have to pick. It'd be interesting to see. We'll review this video back anyway. Fingers crossed we're all right, but yeah, spot on there, Doug. Connor, if you have to pick 3 players for you personally, do you reckon who will have a big season next year?
Thiago's my number 1 pick. I think the last 10 games of the season, he was so instrumental to us getting top 4 in the end. I think with having proper centre-backs behind him and Fabinho in the midfield and Jordan Henderson back in the midfield, I think he'll be able to do what he wants to do in the midfield. And, on that right-hand side with him, Trent and Mo, I think that's going to be a deadly combination for the season. Mo Salah is up there as always. I think he's going to go for the golden boot again as well. And I'm going to say Konate. I think Konate is going to absolutely steamroll the season. I think he'll fit in well. He already looks ginormous alongside Virgil van Dijk. So when Virgil's fit and Konate's fit, it's going to be very hard to get past them too, and Alisson Becker as well. But yeah, Thiago, Mo, and Konate for me.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there. It's Ricky. I can't wait for the Everton game next season. I think Canate may put a couple of players in the stands if he wants to. But Ricky, it's good. It's a good pick that Con. Is one player if I had to pick. Well, I'm asking you, but I think Canate would be in one of mine. I think Jota and Mane. I think Mane. I think, as he said in his interview this week, he's fully recharged. Reds in he, but for me, it'd be Mane, Kanate, and Jota. I'm hoping Jota has that impact in which we've seen already prior to him getting injured last season. But I think if he can get in the box, we've already mentioned already in today's episodes that player. But I think, those three. Nicky, your main three men for next season?
So obviously Mo Salah, I think he wins Golden Boot for next season. I'm going to go. It's going to sound weird. If he stays fit and there's an injury-free season, I'm going with Naby Keita.
Hopefully, please.
We can see what Naby Keita can do. Naby Keita's got quality. Naby Keita can drive with the ball. He can take players on. We see him rip 3 mains players yesterday. It's if he can stay fit. If he can stay fit, he's a terrific player. He's a new signing. And then I will go. It's a tight one between Robbo and Trent, but I want to go Trent because I just think Trent wants it more than Robbo at times in games with attacking the wings. Trent loves a cross. Trent can score from set pieces. I just think he'll get more assists next season than Robbo, so I'm going to go Trent.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Reds, let us know your top 3 players for next season. We'll review this back anyway. I'm not the best, as you already know, on the channel, on all the lads' channels, and I go on predictions-wise. I think last season I kept on going with a draw, and it was good luck for Liverpool, weirdly. Everyone was going for wins. I was like, right, it's a draw, and then we kept on winning. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, lads. Thank you very much for coming on. So that's Ricky from the 1892 Reds podcast, Doug from the Dugout Football channel, and Connor from the Kop Council. Anyway, Reds, head over, subscribe to the lads. Really do appreciate you all 3 of you coming on today. But Reds, thank you for watching. If you're new around here as well, hit that subscribe button down below. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed today's content. I fully enjoyed it. And fingers crossed our predictions are right. Liverpool do push on next season. Pretty sure they will, as the lads have already alluded to in today's episode. But cheers, lads, and thank you to every single one of you for tuning in and continuing to support all of us, everyone's channels as well. But Reds, you'll never walk alone, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Ta-da.